Welcome to the show. It's called Screaming Creativity. My name is Rob Reilly, and a thanks to Spotify, the crew at Spotify, the amazing people at WPP. We are joined by Noel, or as mom would say, Noel Bronson. Is that correct?
Yes. How you doing, Rob?
And God, he's looking cool. He's got a good look. He's got a Met hat, which is, we'll talk a little bit about Mets Yankees a little bit later in the show. He's got a very cool T-shirt by this artist, Kevin Lyons, who used to be in advertising. Is that correct?
Yep. I don't know for who, but yep.
Yeah. You used to be in a lot of things, but now you're a part of the advertising world. You're a senior creative at the Ogilvy Corporation, one of the best networks in the world by far. But how in the hell did you get into this business? Where did we find the magic that is Noel?
Into this business? Well, the very short story is CVH, the main CVH, Chris Bedford Hill. Literally.
Chris Beresford Hill, one of the most fit creatives in advertising. If you see him without a shirt, it's like looking at an airbrushed stomach.
He pretty much hired me from Instagram.
Hired you from Instagram. So, okay, let's go all the way back. Where are you from?
I'm from the Bronx, New York.
Bronx, New York. But you got some teeth gear that's hot stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like I saw a flag on one of your.
Yes, I have gold teeth, and one of the tooths is an enamel flag of Jamaica, where both my parents are from. My mom came here like at 8, and my dad is a teenager.
Wow. Now, what did your parents do?
My mom was actually a stay-at-home mom until my parents divorced.
Oh.
And my dad comes from a pretty kind of wealthy-ish family for Jamaica standards, probably here like upper middle class. And he has business. The whole family has business, real estate, corner stores, restaurants, all up and down the East Coast.
So your parents from Jamaica. You grew up in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. You're a Met fan somehow. But creativity, obviously, a huge part of your life. Like, what's your story?
Thinking back on it, like my foundation, other than being Jamaican, was Beavis and Butthead and Hype Williams videos.
Yeah, I'm a crazy Beavis and Butthead fan. So I wish there was a deeper vision of your creativity, but I love that it's Beavis and Butthead.
Because it's literally the same as like they're doing all this weird cartoon shit, right? And then they sit down and start watching these rock videos, which I didn't have any other outlet to see, right? And then not only am I watching for the first time, being exposed to it, they're speaking over it, which is very similar to Jamaican dancehall culture. They'll play like Celine Dion and speak over it. So growing up, I didn't know Celine Dion wasn't black because like in American black culture, you're not supposed to listen to like white people music. So growing up, I'm hearing all like Air Supply, Celine Dion, the Bee Gees, Jamaican people, Elton John play these religiously, and then they yell over the records. And I just thought these were like black musicians because black people were playing them. Because growing up, people were like, there's black music and white music. So Beavis and Butthead was also part of that breaking down the culture. Like it's art and creativity. Like it's not really race related. I guess it can be by mass consumption, who's consuming it. But to me, it was like, oh, whatever. This is music. I don't care if it's rock for white people or rap for black people. So it was that. And then Hype Williams, it was rap music videos, but they were done on these super, super high levels. And then you find out that he was inspired by all these European movie directors from France that were like artists. And he was putting that in a rap video, so like my whole mind was like, pretty much, and like that's my foundation of ideas of creativity.
No, I mean within 3 minutes you're already smarter than me, which is sad for me, but good for us at WPP that you're young and this smart and amazing. You're inspired by Beavis and Butthead, but obviously deeper than that. And but like so then. How did you get into what you're doing now? Not necessarily an advertisement, but like, give me your creative journey.
So my mom did something that was good and bad. Well, for an immigrant parent, she didn't force me to be anything. She was like, you can be creative. My only requirement was I had to go to school. On the flip side, I wasn't allowed to have a job growing up because I had to focus on school. So I really had no real passions. Summer 8th grade to 9th grade, I started going to Soho. Figuring out Supreme, clientele, they going through these stores. I was like, oh, this is like a cool new subculture I'm getting into. Streetwear was still pretty young. This is 2003, 2004. So I'm getting into all that, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm just buying sneakers. I have no idea I can do anything with this as a life because I don't know anyone that's doing anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, whatever, living life.
But you're wondering, like, where are these sneakers coming from? Who's making them? Or not even thinking about
not
that?
even really. I mean, I just know Nike, and like eventually you heard about Tinker Hatfield, Jordans, but it's still like I'm just living life. Senior year, I was allowed to get a job because I was going to graduate. I worked at Foot Locker 34th Street, the original big one that was in the lobby of the corporate building. So I started meeting corporate people that worked in sneakers, kind of. And I was like, okay, cool. Nike's in Beaverton, that's in Oregon.
And you're in high school at this point?
Yeah, I'm a senior.
Senior in high school.
I'm senior in high school. And then something happens that blows my mind. Kobe Bryant jumps over to Aston Martin, and I didn't know it was a commercial. So I seen this on, not Facebook, I seen this on MySpace, and it was like a post, and I thought it was Kobe recorded it, or whoever recorded it, and jumped over to Aston Martin. And the next day I went to school, and everyone was talking about it, and there was this one guy, he wasn't a teacher, he was like I don't know what he was, but he wasn't.
or something. Yeah.
He worked like in the lunchroom. He was not that much older than us. He was probably like 23 and we were like 17. And he was like, no, that's fake. And my mind couldn't understand how it was fake. And I was like, that can't be fake. Like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But I went home and Googled it and it was fake. And it was like done by Wieden and Kennedy. And I'm like, what the fuck is Wieden and Kennedy?
Yeah.
And I go to it and I'm like, oh, this was an advertising for the Nike Hyperdunk. Before this, I didn't even want to go to college, but my parents like I had to. And I was like, oh, if I go to college, I want to work at Wieden. But I still didn't connect that Wieden was even an ad agency. I thought it was marketing the same shit. So I went to ended up going to college for marketing.
Right. And where'd you go to school?
I kind of had fashion desires. So I went to FIT. I got kicked out because I didn't go. Then I went to City Tech.
Rebel. We got a rebel here, everybody. Kicked out of FIT for
not going.
For using the scissors in a weird way.
Then I went to City Tech. And at City Tech, I dropped out after 2 years to intern for the rapper Fabulous.
Wow.
On his clothing line.
Oh my God, so amazing.
And then from there, I went to Aku, which is T.I.'s clothing line, to run social media, also unpaid, so still intern. And I was just learning, and I think the lucky part I had was that really lucky and transparent, not coming from poverty allowed me to like not really need money much. So like I just had my Foot Locker job, I was getting paid maybe $8.25 at the time, and just doing this creative stuff for free for these $1 million companies.
Yeah.
But learning.
Yeah, and you had support of your family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I lived at home with mom. She wasn't asking for no rent money. I'm still on my mom family plan. Sometimes I don't pay the bill. Sometimes she don't say anything. So
hopefully, mom's not listening to this. So wait, so you're in high school. You're doing all these interns. You're doing more. You're past high school. So then, what's the first job where you actually got paid for creativity?
Epic Records. My friend Ed has a relationship with Epic Records, and he produced not all, but a lot of the merch for the artists. And he was like, hey, we can kind of like cut out another middleman, and I'll get your job to help design it. It was one of the Epic, I think it was DJ Khaled or Jadakiss, like one of the rappers, or 21. Someone I did their merch, and I got like, I think like $250, which looking back is nothing, but it was like, oh, I can go buy some sneakers because from being on my computer, like that was like a big thing. All
right, keep going. So then, like you're selling, merch for DJ Khaled, and like
designing that, doing for Epic, doing stuff for my friends. Backtrack a little bit. In college, Virgil Abloh, before he was really big, I don't know what Kanye album it was, but he was credited on like I bought the CD, opened the book, see his name. Yeah. I Googled him. It's like he was doing the cover designs for the songs and the albums. I was like, I kind of want to do that. So I learned Photoshop or got better at it. And I had a friend, I still have a friend, Jay Tips. He is actually who designed this hat and sneakers that I'm wearing. And I was like, I'm going to like try to do your single covers, learn Photoshop doing that way. And I was pretty much just copying Virgil, like whatever he did for Kanye Good Fridays. I was like copying that. And that's kind of how things was like, I guess I was becoming more popular, just like posting creative stuff. And I started a clothing line, my first ever clothing line.
What was that called?
It was called Pure, P-U-E-R, which is Latin for boy. So it was all like youth culture. So this is the time when streetwear got really dark. What was that brand that was doing SSUR? So it's like A$AP Rocky, Givenchy getting really big. So like Kanye wore all Givenchy, all black. Jay-Z everyone wearing all black. And I was like, that wasn't really me. So I was like, I kept it youthful from what I remember. So like I tried to make brand clothes that were like super colorful and remind me of the early 2000s streetwear. And that was Pierre. And that kind of did all right. Like we was doing like 50, 60,000 a year off like 5 stores and online, like just living. I had like a backer, so like it was pretty cool. Yeah. And then we was making jeans, made a lot of money from jeans. And then went to a focus group at Nike Lab, met some people that worked at Nike. And I didn't notice it later, but after every focus group, they were like, if you're ever in Portland, send us an email. And I took it as an invite. So they kept saying this. And then one time I was like, I'm going to Portland. I flew to Portland and I emailed them, and it was like kind of like, I guess, taken back, but they invited me to Beaverton, and that started like a 5 or 6 year relationship with Nike. Like,
now, were you working full time for them, or were you working part time?
Working at all. Yeah, that was like,
you were just like a relationship.
What happened was it was consulting. Not all of it was paid.
Yeah.
A lot of it wasn't paid, but some of it was paid very well. So, like, I was just still, like, living life like, okay, I'm at Nike now. I'm getting free sneakers.
Amazing,
I'm in Beaverton. Like, I made it. 16-year-old Noel was happy.
Yeah, 16. Wow. What the heck was I doing at 16? I think I was, sniffing glue or something like that. Man,
it was a different time. I had computers. You didn't have that, right?
We didn't have a computer. Just had Atari and Pong. No, I'm not that old. No, thank you. Then, you're working for us. You're working for Ogilvy. So when CBH sees your stuff on Instagram, and then he reaches out to you, what was that like as a young creator?
So it was all like in a 7-month span. What happened was it was 2020 during COVID, and I had a friend that worked at Wyden, and his name was Bruce. So he was like, hey, this guy I know at Wyden, his friend is paying for 10 kids to go to an ad program, and it was CVH, and he was like, you should do it. And I was like, I agreed. So it was Ad House summer program. I took it. I completed it. I still had no interest in any of this, really. Let me go tell him thank you. So I found out with CBH. Like, I went on Instagram. I followed him. I DM'd him. And I was like, thank you. And he followed me back. He was like, you're welcome. Go make good ideas, blah, blah. Then whenever he got the job at Ogilvy, I remember I was like on LinkedIn at that point, and it was like one of your contacts was in the news, and I clicked it. And it was like that big 3 picture. I think it was like him, Dev, and Liz all joined Ogilvy. And I was like, cool, congrats. Yeah. And he was like, hey, I'm going over here. Would you be interested? And he was like, just come on. Like, what's the worst that could happen? 90 days, you don't like it, you can leave. Yeah. And I agreed, and it's been 15 months. Yeah. So I actually enjoyed it.
We're psyched you took a chance on it, and it's working out pretty well.
I'm happy he took a chance, honestly. Yeah. He didn't have to.
What's the message you want to send to people who might be listening to this that are not from our world and not from advertising? That is this the business for them?
If you're creative, this is the place. Like, I've been here. I've designed shoes, T-shirts, worked on commercials, worked on social posts. Like, what other job could have done that? Yeah. Like, literally in the world. You can be creative and have, like, octopus arms in this industry. And it's the only one I know.
You can be creative and have octopus arms. We're going to trademark that. Octopus arms is a T-shirt we're going to be designing. Noel and I have started a company called Octopus Arms. But like, that's a perfect way of describing it. No one's ever described it that way. And I think we spend so much time on the negative part of the business and how hard it is, and there's not enough money from client, all that stuff. But like, you're the opposite. You're saying like, no, this is an amazing business to be able to touch a lot of things. Yes, even for you to come into this business, and you said you maybe felt a bit of an imposter syndrome. I think that never goes away, and I think it's actually healthy to have that doubt. But it's true. I think people want to know when they look at your work and look at what you've done, not just in advertising, but before, probably like, where does it come from?
It's 2 things. It's like doing things I actually love, right? Which is like, I love reading. I just like research, hanging out with my friends, still like 20 years later, still going to Soho or hanging around, window shopping or spending money. But it's also breaking that and doing things I wouldn't usually do. So like the last weekend, I went to Wisconsin with Teresa. You know Teresa? She's Chicago. I don't know her. Last name.
Yes. She did Blue Paradox. Blue Paradox. Yeah, I met her in London, actually. So she's an amazing producer.
So she has the camp up in Wisconsin. I was like, I'm never going to do something like that. Like, I don't have any friends that went camping. I only knew her.
I hate camping.
I had fun, but it was like, oh, let me just try this new thing. And I was there with people I never met before, speaking about things I usually don't speak about in a place I've never been. And it's like, oh, this now is inspiring me to way more ideas. Oh, so awesome. Just like this living, like just being open-minded.
You created essentially a legal holding company. For your ideas. Explain this to the audience. It sounds like something I should be doing.
My first, I guess, real job that I got through nepotism was I became the buyer for Platform NYC. So I became a buyer there, and I was doing like Stussy, 10 Deep, 100, like all their streetwear accounts. I was like, but I did that about for 4 years. But there they had an accountant and a legal team that they did their things. And I met that guy. When I had Pure, he did all my legal work. So all my ideas now go into that. And when
what's it called?
Bronson Has Ideas.
Bronson Has Ideas. Now, is that a lot of work for you to keep all these companies going? Do you always feel like that's part of your DNA, this entrepreneurial, or is it people give you ideas like, this is smart, I should do that, or you're open to listening to people?
It's a little bit of both. I think my upbringing is that there is no, from my father's family that was like his age group and above, that had a job. They all owned things, and I've always seen that. And then everyone under that was like was born in America or came here at a young age, got a degree and went to school and they became like doctors or whatever, medical field, like Jamaican stuff, engineers. My mom always said I needed a degree, helped and hurt me because when I didn't get one, I think a part of me was like, I can't get a job because I put so much of working on that. So I was like, okay, my dad doesn't have one or his brother or his brother or his other brother. So I'm going to own something and build something.
You've worked with Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, 21 Savage, and others. Like, what's the experience of working with those kinds of artists? What can you learn? What have we learned from them? What are some things you wouldn't take away that aren't necessarily the positives?
The only one that had feedback via the record label was Ross. They were like, Ross said he doesn't like this. The rest of them was the label saying no.
Yeah.
I think that was the precursor to what happens now when I don't care when a client comes back and is like, fix this. It's like, all right, cool, whatever, you paying me. Like,
yeah,
I'm here to give you an idea.
Yeah.
I work on it as part of me, but it's for you. So if you say you don't like it, I can't be personal or be hurt by it because it's for you. You know, so I learned that from them.
I like that it's your idea. I'm giving it to you. Now, I would push back on you a bit. It was like, well, part of it, like, I think, is when we have ideas and you get feedback, can you take that feedback and turn it into gold? Sometimes clients have good feedback on something and actually could make it better. You know, I'm positive on sometimes getting feedback. Now, if it's so much feedback that the idea is just at some point ruined, and I'm always like, I think we're smart enough to just come up with more ideas. You know, like be a fountain of ideas is what I always say, especially to young creatives. Like, don't fall in love with something. You know, that's why there's phrase starving artists exists, you know, because this isn't necessarily art. You know, we're artists and use a tremendous amount of artistry, but like in the end, we're trying to help this company either come up with a platform or sell a product or create a movement, whatever it might be. And we have to have some level of give and take and still make magic out of it. You know, I think that's for the people that have been successful. I feel I've figured out how to do that. So let's talk about streetwear because I love streetwear. Even as a 54-year-old man, but like, what can our business, the advertising business, learn from streetwear?
So streetwear is a lot different now. Like, it's multi-billion dollars, banks back streetwear brands now.
Yeah.
And by the time I came into it, it was still maybe 20, 30 years old, or whatever people say when it started. But streetwear was literally doing what you can do with what you have. So it was like anyone that had brands back then, they couldn't go to Italy and make clothes. They couldn't go anywhere. So they bought blank T-shirts and printed something on it, changed the label, and that created a whole new idea, right? That's literally the same thing we do with brands, right? Like you said, the chicken fries, that's Burger King, right? It's kind of like we can't get a new ingredient in, but we're going to make chicken sandwiches. What if we just cut up the chicken sandwiches and put it in the same container as the French fries?
Yeah. But even more than that, like we actually created a fry pod that went in the cup holder.
Oh, you did?
And back in the day, so it's like it wasn't just that. We put it around.
Okay, so like, you guys were big money then. So
I don't know. We didn't get extra money. I'm saying it was part of we didn't get any IP for that. But so you're saying like part of what we can learn is that like you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. It's like just taking some T-shirts and rebrand them and make them something different. And maybe sometimes we overthink that everything has to be the original idea versus should we be drafting off more things in culture.
Exactly. And it works in both ways. Like, so like, first time I went to Soho Reilly was like 2003, 2004. And there was two stores that were very different. Only one still exists, but it moved. So it was Supreme and there was Dave Quality Meat. Dave's Quality Meat that was the East Village. It was literally a meat shop. Like you walked in, like sneakers and shirts were in the freezer. Then you go in Supreme, and I never knew what Supreme was supposed to look like, right? It was like this very big open space. Then you find out that it was a gallery. The decks on the wall are art. The shirts are art. And it was like, oh, this is also an idea of recontextualizing something else in your own words. I guess we say the brief is showing.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
strategy show.
Strategy show. There you go, strategy show.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that's cool. So I think even that, like, we can take references and hide them very deep and make something new that people might not even know about. What's
the thing you love about what we do today, and what's the thing you wish would change? I know it's a deep question.
It's a hard one.
Well, listen, Noel. This is an adult podcast. We're asking adult questions.
My personal experience in this is it's very not what I thought corporate America was. You know, this is almost literally the same thing as freelancing. Like, I don't have a set schedule. I don't have a set anything. I just have a boss now. He's pretty cool. Shout out to Menno. I don't know what else you've done, but you made a meal at Burger King, and then you probably did a car commercial. Like, what other profession can you do that?
See? Do a little research on me, Noel. Do a little research, you know?
My orientation was a lot of that.
Google one of our top clients. Google me. No, I'm kidding.
What I dislike about it, I don't know if there's a glass ceiling or old guard or any of those things. I guess there has to be because like it's still very white.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's yeah.
So we are going to roll into the last 5 minutes of the show. We like to do rapid fire questions. You've seen this done many times. We just did it a while ago with some people like Marlon Wayans, and they had some amazing answers. Books or movies?
Books.
Last book you read, favorite one?
That's 2 questions?
Yes.
Book.
It's rapid fire. It's a new thing I just invented.
The book I'm currently reading is Holy Terror. It's Bob, I can't remember his name, but they call him Bob Cola. He was the editor of Interview Magazine when Andy Warhol was still alive, so it's a story of how he worked with Andy Warhol. My favorite book ever is Fahrenheit 451. Read that very young, and it changed my life.
Love that book. Talking or texting?
Texting. I hate talking.
Well, you're talking.
Well, on the phone. I hate talking on the phone. Like,
yeah, but you love this.
Yeah,
this is like probably the best experience
don't call
you've
me.
had the last 3-4 hours. Are you a night owl or a morning person?
So by nature, I was night. Like even up until I got this job, I was still waking up like at 10 a.m. And I had to start taking my son to school. So now I go to bed early and I wake up at 6.
Oh, that's cool. How old's your son?
5.
5. Does he play any sports?
No, he plays iPad.
Which is an incredible sport, iPad. Last song you listened to?
I think Bling Bling by Cash Money.
It's a good song. Hidden secret talent. I mean, you got a lot of sort of talents we're learning about, but like, what's a hidden secret talent that no one knows?
Damn, I don't have one. Damn,
It ain't being a Met fan. I tell you that. That can't be a talent.
Secret talent? I don't know. What's some talents again?
I don't know. Can you juggle? I don't know.
I can make decks.
Skate decks or you know.
Like decks that go in the emails.
Oh yeah, shit. I was like, make skate decks. Well, that's pretty cool. Favorite season?
Fall.
Fall. Why?
Because the weather is really cool. You start wearing jackets again, so I have more pockets. And I would like the spring, but I have very bad allergies.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I take allergy medicines. And other people have said, I like the fall too because you can really start wearing jackets and layers and some things, not even just for the pockets, just for the fashions. Summer's always hard for me to wear a fedora because it's usually that straw hat look, and it's like I look like Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, so I try not to do that. If you could hang out with one fictional character, who would it be? Living or dead, or old movie or new movie or fictional character?
That's a good one.
Jonathan Sanchez writes these questions. He's very smart.
That's not rapid fire. That's how I have to think.
Yeah.
The whole cast of Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one. Yeah, I feel like I don't know which character I would be. I don't know. That's a great one.
You like the principal.
What?
You like the principal.
You know what? No. I liked you.
He's cool, though.
Is he?
Yeah.
Which one is
the principal? Remember he was smoking with the janitor? Like, clearly they were like the bad kids and they grew
No,
up
I think he was just like the guy running the detention. I don't think he was the principal. He was like, nah,
you might have. No, you're right.
Yeah, he was like the jerk.
But it's implied that like him and the janitor were those kids when they were younger and they grew up and became them.
We've got to keep going. 3 items on your bucket list.
Climb Mount Everest.
Jesus.
Go to the Met Gala.
And that's not the place where the Mets memorabilia is, by the way, just so we're clear. It'd be a very small museum.
All right, just because you keep bringing the Mets up, throw a first pitch in the Mets game.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Go-to karaoke song.
Is that Madonna or Cher? In the videos, like the background keeps changing, like this pulsing.
I think it's Madonna, Ray of Light.
Ray of Light, there you go.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I'm a knowledge. That's how I'm good at Trivial Pursuit. If you had one app to choose for the rest of your life, what would it be?
My favorite social media ever of all time was Snapchat, but I think Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah, that's where it just helps you. It's your thing. And lastly, you're not that old. I think you're half my age. But what's one piece of advice you'd give your teenage self?
It all works out.
It all works out. Well, Noel, you've worked out, and you're an awesome guy. And I'm wearing the T-shirt that we designed together. It's our first collab from Octopus Incorporated. We're going to rebrand this. Noel, this is a prototype version of this. If you can see it, it's got the fish WPP. We violated all the legal logo treatments. So, Noel, what an awesome! Thanks again to Spotify and our crew here for WPP, and thank you, Matt, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Love it.
Look forward to it.